Unlocking the Soul, hosted by Rob Simperman and produced by Simplify Films. Episodes cover mature and controversial themes. Consider this when deciding whether and when to watch.
13. Greetings and our true form. After we cross the barrier through the white light, our sources tell us we are welcomed by a group of familiar souls. We sometimes encounter entities that we assume are angels based on our religious expectations, but we soon recognize them as family or friends from our life that just ended. They often appear as they did in physical prime. Usually one significant soul, either our guide or a close member of our soul group, waits out in front to greet us first. Our greeters may even still be alive in our most recent life, since souls only bring a portion of their energy to Earth, so they're still available for simultaneous activities in the spirit world. They simply split their energy focus. To continue the metaphor, it's like how you can play a video game while you're talking to someone else in the room with you. At first, we remember the roles our greeters had in the most recent life, but as our veil of amnesia wears off, we remember them across the entire arc of our previous lives and spirit work between lives. Seth even points out that an enemy from our most recent life could be someone we come to remember deserves our respect and even our love. The size of welcoming party varies by person and by life. It may be skipped entirely for more advanced souls who don't need spiritual comfort after death. They're eager to get back to work. One of Dr. Newton's subjects said he knows the way and is in a hurry. He doesn't need any help to slow him down. An expert at dying, I suppose. We initially take on physical form in the spirit realm, similar to how we would see ourselves in dreams. And yes, we can also fly and create objects on a whim. Then, after we're fully reoriented, we remember how to display forms that represent our psychological state. If we feel the vitality of youth, we may display ourselves in our physical prime. If we're upset, we may manifest as a lightning storm. We simply represent ourselves how we're most comfortable. This may be a form from a prior life, or a half form from the waist up, or simply a wisp of energy, though we typically maintain prominent eyes as an expressive tool. We communicate telepathically, but we can use touch to transmit private or intimate thoughts and emotions. And after we're fully adjusted to the spirit world, we're ready for more spirit world activities. So, what can we expect to experience next? 14. Initial perceptions. Religious beliefs, or lack thereof, seem to have no influence on what they reported. Their answers were basically identical each time, a phenomenon in itself. Dolores Cannon. Once the greetings are done, we're ready to get going again. We need to move from that initial foyer area we've seen so far to where our real work happens. Dr. Newton describes his subjects' varied initial impressions of the spirit world. Some see it as mostly gray and white mosaics glittered with other colors stretching infinitely away. Others see fields of wildflowers, castles towering, rising in the distance, or rainbows under an open sky. Seth says a good way to understand what it's like in the spirit world is to look at our dreams. In the sleep state, we experience a similar passing over the threshold as we experience in death. We don't have a lag between conception and reality. There, we may speak with dead friends and relatives, travel to the past and see events or places that no longer exist, or travel through physical space instantly. We can meet with guides, get instructions and training, or perform important jobs. We can work on solving challenges from our own waking life, or that of others with whom we communicate, or we can merely conjure our own hallucinations to experience. Those experiences are roughly translated for our conscious mind upon waking, resulting in the symbolism and hazy approximations as our mind tries to make sense of non-physical experiences our brains weren't designed for. After those orientation hallucinations have faded and our souls progress further, the descriptions of the spirit world become more uniform. It may be surprising that even in a realm of instant creation based on thought, souls need to get around. Newton tells us his subjects universally describe a sort of mass transit system where unacquainted souls travel in mass to their intended destinations. It's described by terms like currents of energy, vibrational strings, or swaying as a ribbon in the breeze. Yet souls may feel a subtle pull helping them know where to go. So that's how we move. But where are we going? 15. Spirit guides. Think of a firm but concerned entity who who knows all about your learning habits, your strong and weak points, and your fears, who's always ready to work with you as long as you continue to try. Dr. Michael Newton. After the greeting, the healing shower, and other detours for recuperation work, our next stop is a formal meeting with our guide. A spirit guide is like a teacher, a coach, and a supportive friend all in one. And because soul groups often have new teachers in training, we might even have 2 senior souls guiding us. The prospect of this meeting generates enthusiasm if our soul is coming from a productive life of benefits to ourselves and others, but it can cause some apprehension after falling off the track we set for ourselves. This is where the concept of a soul contract comes in, though that term is often misunderstood. It's not a binding agreement, but more like the work performance targets you might jointly set with your manager for use at a later evaluation time, or planning out a college thesis with a professor. Dr. Newton details several life plans from his subjects. One involves a soul working on following through on goals. Another plan to avoid being corrupted by power and money despite temptations. In fact, many plans seem to relate to the tension between the desires of the ego and being selfless and helpful to society. But another plan was simply to feel what desertion in a family feels like. While you might be thinking, such experiences are cruel to subject ourselves to, your soul knows you are in a safe place to study a full range of human experiences. Have you ever considered how violent video games are that we play in the safety of our living rooms? When possible, our spirit guides prefer a hands-off approach, letting us learn our own lessons with a debrief between lives. However, they may intervene and give us the tools to be successful or to ensure we consider our options. Guide interactions are where the idea of guardian angels come from. One of Dr. Newton's subjects recalled her guide being with her on the first day of school. She sat on the girl's desk to comfort her when she was scared. She even showed the way to the restroom when she was afraid to ask for the teacher for directions. Guides never make us do anything or override our decisions. They offer wisdom or inform us of consequences. They can turn up the volume on our conscience. They can give us thoughts of patience, responsibility, or our parents' love. They give us comfort, support, or even inspire our ideas or creativity. Perhaps they are the origin of the mythical muse as well. And in extreme circumstances, a guide can even incarnate as someone in our lives, an acquaintance, or rarely, even a family member. Remember that we are the master of our own destiny and can ignore their guidance, even at our own peril. It's a partnership with a shared responsibility, but we are ultimately accountable. While Newton and Cannon's methods regularly help subjects contact their guides, other methods that may be more convenient include meditation, self-hypnosis, and prayer. Many people believe when we ask for help from our spirit guide, especially audibly, our prayers are answered. Dr. Newton cites a study wherein 1 out of 10 people admit to hearing voices of a positive or instructional nature in their lives. Still, be observant for subtle replies to your requests. Guides aren't supposed to reveal themselves even when offering help, and guides are very reluctant to interfere in life challenges. To religious individuals, a guide may appear as a saint, Jesus, or even a personification of God. However, it's just as likely our own higher self who gives us insights or strength to persevere. So whether it's one of our guides, our oversoul, an actual saint, or an angel, those who assist aren't concerned about getting the credit they deserve, and we shouldn't be too concerned either. Like with parenting, sometimes guides are forced to let us endure hardship when it's what's best for us to learn the lessons we need to learn. So how do we know whether we've learned our planned lessons?